Serious, what is an item you always bought cheaply, then finally bought an expensive version and realized it was worth paying more? Pillows. Not necessarily super expensive pillows, but shelling out a little more money for some heavier firm ones that stay solid, or soft fluffy ones if you're into that. Pots and pans. Well, actually kitchen appliances in general. The cheap crap just wears out and just isn't worth the money you waste on replacing it. As a counterpoint, cast iron pans. They're startlingly cheap and basically indestructible. My wife has several pans which cost $100+ each collecting dust because our cast iron is so fantastic. Bras totally worth the investment. If you are big busted, a little bit extra money will get you so much more comfort and perk them up perfectly. I hate that I have to drop $60 or more per bra, but having one that fits well and is supportive keeps my back from aching 24/7 and it's worth it. A TV and a mattress. It's stupid to buy either one in generic form for $100 or so cheaper when you use it every day, especially a good mattress, which could change your entire life for the better. Sleep is everything. A mixer. KitchenAid mixers blow the cheap ones out of the water. Then there's all the attachments you can get for it. Best $350 I ever spent. The old ones from the 70s are freaking indestructible. Makes perfect sense now why they're so GD expensive. Shoes. I have wide feet, and the wider shoes that Asics or Nike make are absolutely freaking luxurious. And in my experience they last longer before you need to get a new pair. For work shoes, I always go hush puppies. Only ever had one pair of those that haven't lasted. Where can I get these wide Nike shoes you speak of? Sunglasses. Actual polarized sunglasses. The cheap ones just have a film that is sprayed on and gets scratched wiped off very quickly. I just got a pair of polarized prescription sunglasses. Probably one of the best things I have bought in a really long time. Shoes. Always bought the cheapest Payless shoes I could. Black Airwalks. For years. Then my mom got me some solid Nike shoes and I realized after so long that my feet back don't have to hurt. I always assumed I was just getting old and my job is physically demanding, so pain was normal. Nope. Invest in good shoes. My motorcycle helmet. I bought a cheap one at the store because the salesperson said it was just as good as the expensive ones and I was a noob. Well, a little research showed that it definitely does matter. Bought the best helmet I could afford. Can't put a price on your head. This is very true. I have been riding dirt bikes and motorcycles my whole life. The $60 Walmart ones are trash. I had one as a kid and it cracked at a 10 mph fall. I worked my butt off all summer to get a new Snell rated one for $300. The difference is amazing. Had that helmet until I was 16. Got cut off on my motorcycle and hit the pavement at 65. Thanks to that helmet I am still here. Socks. My god. My feet. Why did I ever insist on wearing ill-fitting socks, or ones with holes in them? Good, somewhat pricier socks tend to be more durable, resulting in fewer holes and longer life. Super comfortable, since the material is usually better more material is used. Great for controlling odor better. Honestly, there are nice socks that handle feet sweat better via super sock science, or are just more porous so that the feet can breathe better. Better fitting. Sometimes those cheaper socks, they don't fit quite right, or they have an annoying seam that you notice with your toes, and it eats away at the back of your mind, mocking you with slight discomfort for the whole day as you struggle to readjust. Anyway, pricier socks fit better. Cost and space efficient in the long run. I don't need to buy as many socks. I have fewer pairs of socks since they don't disintegrate in the wash, and I love my nice socks. So, socks. Not an item per se, but I always colored highlighted my daughter's hair myself. How hard could it be, right? Then finally one day I took her to a salon to have it done professionally and I was like, holy crap. This crap's complicated. The result looked about 1 billion times. All that's super sweet. My mum always colored my hair for me when I was in my early teens. Purple, pink, blue, you name it. That small amount of freedom I had to change my hair color and have my mum help literally has impacted me my whole life. Now that I'm older, I always am flabbergasted and ask her, why did you let me do that? I wanted you to express who you were and it was time for us to be together. Plus now you have it out your system and won't be weird as frick. Haha, you're an awesome mom. Headphones. Cheap ones need to be constantly replaced. It's better just to buy the more expensive ones and not have to replace them every few weeks. Then there's the audio quality thing. $200 headphones are on a different planet compared to $20 headphones. You don't know what you're missing until you get used to listening on better gear. Then you won't ever want to go back to the cheap plastic sounding ones. Beef, steak, ground beef, all of that. I used to buy cheap meat to save money. It's so worth the extra cash to get some delicious beef. It's more about having a good butcher you can trust than the price. Work boots. But I still think it's spools that they'll last 10 years or whatever people told me on Reddit and in online reviews. I use them every day and after 4 months I can see spots where the leather wears unevenly. It may be that Redditors bought their boots 10 years ago, when the quality was higher, and then, because no one needed new boots, the company had to cut down on the quality to maintain business. Which sucks, but I'm terrified of the day I have to buy large appliances. Shoes. I used to get $25 shoes but they would get holes in the soles in a couple months. Then I started getting $50 plus Nikes. I'm still wearing a pair I bought over a year ago. Hey, nobody has posted this yet. The reason that the rich were so rich, Vimes reasoned, was because they managed to spend less money. Take boots, for example. He earned $38 a month plus allowances. A really good pair of leather boots cost $50. But an affordable pair of boots, which were sort of okay for a season or two and then leaked like heck when the cardboard gave out, cost about $10. Those were the kind of boots Vimes always bought and wore until the soles were so thin that he could tell where he was in Ankh-Morpork on a foggy night by the feel of the cobbles. But the thing was that good boots lasted for years and years. A man who could afford $50 had a pair of boots that'd still be keeping his feet dry in 10 years time. While the poor man who could only afford cheap boots would have spent $100 on boots in the same time and would still have wet feet. This was the Captain Samuel Vimes boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness. Terry Pratchett, Men-at-Arms. Beer. My friend was trying to convince me that the expensive stuff is better, and eventually talked me into spending $14 on a 6-pack. It turns out, I got just as drunk. The beer was 9% alcohol, and it tastes way better. Crisps. Had Sainsbury's own brand cheese and onion growing up, then switched to Walker's on a holiday in Bognor Regis and never looked back. Also Quavers are the crap. Sorry for any non-Brits that had to read that. Riding boots. I needed a set of motorcycle boots with external armor for a track day. Great. I got a cheap, relatively, $100 set of armored boots. Hooray. Then I crashed. The boots, while they protected against abrasion, had no heel armor to speak of. They also had no real structural rigidity. End result, heel hit the ground. Bone bruise on my left heel. Toe armor got driven into the side of my foot. Second bone bruise on my left foot. I walked like a gimp for a month and a half. Then I spent $400 on a good set of proper Italian track boots. They fit better, they feel better, and they actually protected my foot last time I pushed it too hard into a corner and washed out. Don't skimp on armor. When it comes to boots, get the Sidis, or the Gens. Skip the Joe Rocket and Built. Hair care products, particularly for curly hair. I used to scoff at hair gels that were more than $4 but now buy $25 curly hair specific custards. Honestly, it's cut my styling time in half and also lets me get rid of all the other $4 crap hair products I kept trying. Because honestly, when you need 5 different products, none of them are really working. Butter. No more white or dyed yellow sticks of tasteless antibiotic lace butter for me. It's gotta be that gorgeous yellow, creamy happy pastured cow stuff now. Ice cream. You should only buy it to treat yourself either way. Might as well spend $6 on Ben & Jerry's half-baked instead of $3 on some generic chocolate balls. Scotch. I had been drinking nice, big blended Scotch for years and really enjoyed it. This was in the 1990s before single malts were the thing and you could get them anywhere. Glenfiddich, for instance, was thought of as a good scotch. Then I went away on this weird lost weekend with a friend from college and his crazy, spendthrift, filthy rich friend from high school. I told him my drink was Johnny Walker and he snorted Ugh. Blended. The guy had read one book about scotch and decided he wanted to become an expert. I thought he was snobbed and but he walked right into a store and plunked down $60. For me at the time, an unheard of sum for booze. For a bottle of Macallan 12. One sip of that and my world changed forever. Nintendo GameCube controller. Playing with the cheap shit GameStop one. Then a legit Nintendo brand controller was night and day. Crappy night and amazing day, respectively. I hear you on that one. Nothing beats splitting a thumb open while wava dishing on a GameStop controller. Aluminium foil. Always bought the cheap off-brand crap. Until one day I bought name brand because it was on sale. Reynolds I think. And it was light night and day. Off-brand is like tissue paper. Reynolds is strong as heck. I only buy Reynolds now. I think that's the right brand I'm thinking of. It's the one that makes the best aluminium foil you see in all the stores. Even better, buy foil from a professional kitchen supply warehouse. Buy it in bulk. You will save a fortune on heavier better foil than you ever got at the store. Big savings and quality jump. Sex toys. I'm serious. I really like using toys on my wife. And I love when she has those huge orgasms where her legs and head lift off the bed well before peak climax and she makes those brain melted but it feels so good noises before she clamps her legs closed and begs me to stop. Those noises are entirely more common with the better motors and better materials. What the frick are you buying? Pasta sauce. Used to just buy the overly sweet Prego ragu, but once I tried Rouse, I can't go back. Rouse can be too expensive at times though, so I usually just go for Newman's Own as a compromise. Please stop telling me to just make my own. Some people being more rude about it than others. If I had the time to do so, I wouldn't be buying off the shelf pasta sauce, would I? For the record, yes, I know how easy and fast it is to make. I make it on the occasional free Sundays, but all of you so conveniently leave out the time it takes to prep and clean after, which is not at all insignificant. And no, it's not cheaper to make when you're cooking for one because I don't reach any economies of scale doing so. Any type of pasta sauce is super easy to make from scratch and comes minus all the preservatives, sugar and salt, too. Keyboards. I used to swear by crappy keyboards you used to get included with computers. The sort of thing you'd find for $30 at Staples. I got a $200 ARM mechanical keyboards and I ain't never going back. It no longer feels like I'm shoving my fingers into a potato with every key press. In the same vein, a mouse. I used to just use the stock ones and when they would start being unresponsive or just straight up not working I would replace it with cheap ones. I finally bought a Razer Naga with an unused Best Buy gift card for around $65 and not only does the thing work like new 3 years later, it is so much more accurate and with much better response time than any mouse I have ever owned. Granted that model is sort of pointless to anyone who doesn't play PC games, but long story short, invest in a good mouse. Suits. If you dress up often, a nicely fit, lightweight, comfortable suit is a must. Can't deal with crappy heavy material. Bluetooth speaker. There are crappy mini stereos for sale at Brookstone or wherever, but they aren't great quality, usually don't get loud enough, aren't durable, need to be replaced. Bought a UE Boom about a year ago, and I use it every single day. Keeps the charge for about 15 hours playing at a reasonable volume, and can fill a space with sound. Almost completely waterproof, durable as frick. Worth the money if you love music and love to bring it with you everywhere. Bonus. Fits in a backpack. TLDR. Suits for comfort purposes. Quality portable Bluetooth speaker because music deserves it. Headphones. I always skipped out on buying the more expensive ones, but after having several headphones malfunction, break, I've come to terms that I should buy more expensive ones. I bought them and they were amazing. The sound was better than I thought and they didn't break, or rather they haven't broke yet. Just don't buy Beats. Seriously, do not buy Beats. Dr. Dre does not even use them himself and he is just the spokesperson for it. Breathe Right strips. I had bought the name brand first, later bought a generic. The generic was total crap and did jack diddly. Clothing. As a kid no one gives a crap what you wear and you can go cheap since you are growing. Once you become an adult you should buy some more expensive shirts from J.Crew or Brooks Brothers that will last. Expensive is not always a logo, it is quality. It's all about the fit for me. It doesn't matter if a shirt is $15.00 or $100. If it's the perfect fit and I like the style, then it's the right choice. Pads and tampons. I always bought the Target brand ones and then one day I ran out and used my roommate's always and was amazed by the comfort and lack of leakage. Pet food. Not feeding grain for years by Products artificial colors to my cat has made it so they're much healthier and I'm spending a ton less at the vet. Pizza. Cheap pizza is not pizza. It is terrible soft dough with sweet tomato sauce. Seriously, WTF is that? And the thinnest layers of tiny shavings of the mildest cheese on top. I've recently become semi-obsessed with making the perfect Neapolitan pizza. Once you have a truly fantastic pizza you just can't go back. I'm seriously looking at building a wood-fired brick oven in my backyard. Honestly, earphones. I would always get the super cheap ones but they wouldn't last very long at all. So I invested in a pair that was adequately priced. Not Beats price, people. And it's lasted me for 2 years and counting. Guitar cables. Went though 4 or 5 monster cables over the course of a year. Eventually caved and got a Mogami. Dang thing was $70 for 10 feet but has outlived every other cable I've owned. Going on 7 years now without a hitch. Everyone is listing all kinds of different things here. Some of you may think some of them are a little silly. Sunglasses? A mixer? I don't need either of those things. The real answer is that you should make investments in things and places you spend most of your time. If you do a lot of cooking, yeah, get a nice mixer. If you're a movie buff, buy a nice TV. If you're at the computer all day, get a nice office chair. If you're a programmer, make sure you have a computer that can do what you need it to do. As for everything else, clothes, shoes, etc., it's important to buy things like that will last a long time. If you buy everything cheaply you'll spend more money replacing it all. On the other hand, everyone should have a nice mattress. It really can change your life. One that I haven't seen is musical instruments. Not for everyone, but for any of my band people out there. You can absolutely tell the difference in the sound of a $300 Yamaha saxophone compared to a high-end Selmer quality sax. Cotton is rotten. Cotton retains about 27% of its weight in water. So if you sweat a lot your foot will be covered. This makes your foot softer and more prone to blisters. Not to mention way more odor. I had horrible athlete's foot. Switched to wool and now my feet don't stink. Guess what, wool socks aren't itchy anymore. Especially if you get merino wool. Too expensive, they last a lot longer than cheap pairs. Darn tough socks have a lifetime warranty. Just about everything. Went from being pseudo middle class growing up to discovering that a real middle class was still about 2x what my family made once I got out on my own. Lived like a college student. Still burned every cent I made. Now over that. My first gaming computer. I ended up dropping only about $400 on my first build, but wasn't content with medium graphics. I made some major upgrades and built a computer with a budget of around $1,000. Everything. If you buy cheap, you buy twice. The second purchase is a non-crappy item you should have bought the first time, so you ended up paying more than if you just bought the good item to start with. With very few exceptions, when I buy something on the cheap I am disappointed with it. Buying good quality is a pleasure to use, doesn't matter what it is. I'm a strong believer in spending quality money on both your bed and your coffee maker. My new bed, 3 weeks old now, is worth $3,300 but my so's father works for the brick so we got a 60% discount. Best sleeps ever. Our coffee maker is a beautiful DeLonghi espresso machine. Nothing better to wake up to. I already commented and said toilet paper, which is true, but I'd like to comment again and say chocolate milk. Promised land chocolate milk is everything you hope chocolate milk will be. Remember how amazing chocolate milk was back in elementary school during before school care with your frosted flakes and with your rectangular pizza during lunch? Remember how you stopped drinking chocolate milk for a while and kind of forgot about it through high school and into early adulthood? Until one day you feel a hunger starting to build. It builds and builds over the days, over weeks if you have the willpower to resist. You want chocolate milk. Suddenly, there is no resisting it. There are so many reasons you want it. You want that deliciousness, cool and thick. You want the nostalgia of better days, of the innocence before you knew how scary the world can be. So you run to the store and buy some, but it's no good. It's so thin and weak. You try a different brand, but still, it only tastes of disappointment and regret. You start to wonder if what you are after will be impossible to reach. You fall to the lowest of lows and try to mix your own, pouring as much of the syrup as you dare. You know there is something wrong about this, something shameful about the milk to syrup ratio that just doesn't let you sleep comfortably at night. Every time you pour more, but it will never be right. It will always feel so wrong. Have you held the notion of chocolate milk to such high standards that nothing in reality, nothing in the waking world will ever quite hold up to the memory of your childhood chocolate milk? You'd give up and the world seems a little bit more grey, because this proves that things really are as dim and disappointing as they seem. Life will never be as vibrant and colorful as it promised to be so long ago. And then your sister comes home from Texas. Of course it happened in Texas. It had to be in Texas that she found it, the promised land. You're skeptical at first, afraid of being hurt, but you eventually give in. One last shot at life. One last hope that the world may not be as bad as you have come to believe. They sell it at the grocery store. Perfect. You try it, and suddenly, everything is okay. Clothing. Women feel pressured into having a lot of clothes. I could only answer to that pressure, when I was younger, by having inexpensive clothing. Now I'm all about quality over quantity. I have fewer, but nicer clothes. They hold up longer and are more flattering and unique. Also, inexpensive clothing usually is created with human misery. Anything you spend a lot of time with or put in your body, as men have said. Food, bedding, including mattresses, pillows, sheets and blankets, socks, shoes, underwear, clothes, desk chair, keyboard, mouse, monitor, mind, food, internet, content, education, experiences, pleasures, lube, toys, partners, substances. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.